We will now proceed to the final session for the plenary, and that is to talk about the way forward. Throughout this morning, you have listened to a lot of different discussion from philosophical point of view to the issue of gender, from the scientific medical science point of view to the issue of laws. And finally, now we come to someone who is practicing dealing with issues in here in a home ground, Malaysia, Reverend Tryphena Law. She is the Executive Director of PLUC, which is a ministry that provides pastoral care and counseling to those with gender issues for the past 20 years. And she is our lovely graduate as well from BCM. So would you join me to welcome Reverend Tryphena Law to do the summary session.
Good afternoon. I think you get a different kind of breed this morning from this session onwards. Okay. Now, I'm sure most of you here, you have benefited. And some of you is like, my brain is a bit like so heavy, you know. I just want you to know that what is happening today in this talk is a progression of the last 20 years that we've been doing the work. 20 years ago, we already mentioned the issue of transgenderism is going to be the peak. And true enough, it's happening now. Okay? So can I have my PowerPoint, please? Thank you. I want to leave with you all with a few things. But before that, there's something that I always hold on to. Is by Dr. Bob Pierce. He always says this. He's the founder of World Vision. Let my heart be broken with the things that break the heart of God. After hearing so much, does it break your heart? Does it break your heart? Some of them, you know, we jokingly, as we were outside there having tea, they say, I'm woke. I'm awakened. Are you awakened? Are you feeling the heartbeat of God today? I've been doing the work for the last 2 decades, and it's very tiring. It's very tiring because supposedly today, we hope that many more pastors and leaders will be seated here. But you know what? None of you here is by accident. God has purposed you to sit here for a reason. And you are going to go back to be the ambassador, to speak with your generation. It's going to be an intergenerational in that sense. So, Dr. Bob Pierce said, let my heart be broken with the things that break the heart of God. This thing broke my heart many years ago, not just because I was once there. I want to leave with you 4 E's. Okay, I'm an educator, so I like to, simplify it. The first E, what can you take with you today? Seated here, and later on you will have workshops, and after workshop is sayonara. Is it just that? The first E I want to leave with you is this: equip. You are here today because you are being equipped. Equipped with not just about what is woke. Some people ask me, actually, what is woke? It's an inward today. Probably to the Chinese-speaking people, there is no word to explain woke. What? 起来 苏醒, in Chinese. That's why the English are very much ahead. Honestly speaking, the Chinese and the Malay speaking has no issue with gender pronoun. Ta, dia. But English, you can't. He, she, it, they. And now is what? Yeah. The English has problem even with the pronoun. So how equipped are we? There's a good book, Them Before Us. It's talking about the right of children. We talk about the right of children. Where are the right of the children to have a father and a mother today? Because the way human right is moving forward so much so that the children are losing their right for a healthy family. Church. In fact, I'm very glad to see many young people here. How many of you here are 30 years old and below? Can you please stand up? 30 years old and below. Come on, please stand up. Come on. Come on. Yes. Malaysia still got hope. Thank you so much. Please be seated. We have succeeded in our conference already because we have 30 years old and below attending this. Equipping, pastors need to be equipped. And I know pastors are very busy. I always tell the pastors, please, you are not the one doing the work. But you need to be equipped first so that you can bring the message across. Professor Rafida Hanim, who is going to be a good friend of mine, who is going to speak later on the workshop, she was telling me this, Tryphena, please go to Family Watch International and you'll get all the latest news about sexual orientation, gender, and family. Just go. I'm on their list, mailing list. And every day I get news. And the more I look at it, just like what Dr. Melvin mentioned just now, PITT. When I read those letters, I come to a point where sometimes I don't want to read anymore because it breaks my heart. Equip. We have asked Canaan Land to come today. They have brought so many books that's related to gender. 20 years ago, hardly any books. Do we invest? Not just because he's my mentor, I hard sell his book, but he has written a book, Raising Gender Confident Kid. Dr. Melvin, and the author is here, might as well get him to sign. And I think they only have a few copies there. Singapore came out with a good book, Walking with Same-Sex Attracted Friends. And because of this book, I got connected with Pastor Ian Toh that has produced my story and Pastor Sylvia's story and so many other people's story. We need to get ourselves equipped. People ask me, Pastor, what do you think? My church member coming to church today with a skirt because that person wants to be a transgender. You are going to face that today. Hello? How equipped are we? There is a good book, God and the Transgender Debate. I have the old one now, extended, thicker some more. I had the thin version. There's so many resources available. People ask, what's next? The second E. Once pastors are being equipped, can we have the second slide? Once they're being equipped, they will start to educate. When you are equipped, then you can educate because what you don't know, you don't know. And then you speak nonsense. I'm so sorry. There are not many pastors here, so mostly are members. What we don't know, we dare not talk about it. We need to educate our people. What is taking place in our Christian education? Please understand, I am for prayer, I'm for leadership, I'm for mentoring, I'm for all those that we need to. But have we ever had a topic on sexuality in our Christian education? Have we ever put in things about human rights and understand it? Honestly, Eugene has been chasing after me for many years. Tryphena, come, let's work, let's talk. I said, human rights? It doesn't interest me, it's so boring. But you know what? When it hits you, when it breaks your heart, you cannot say you don't want or don't know. Equip, educate. You know very well I'm a pastor, the way I talk. There's so many resources, can we press? So many resources available. Let me put your attention to the one, Restory 24. Restory, actually you can go to that, restory.org, I think so. They have free material to train the church. Just watch. My good friend, Dr. Linda Saylor, who is also an Assemblies of God missionary, once a trans as well. She wrote a book, Transformation, which I hope Canaan Land can bring it in. She has free material for you to use. Just listen. The church can be equipped and educate. Resources are available. Hello? When we started the work, nothing. All I had was Cy Rogers VCR. A whole set of it. 20 years, there's so many resources available. These are just some of the ministries. You go to Restore Hope Network, they have so many podcasts, videos that you can watch and learn. I want you to watch a video, the next slide. I want you to look at the heartbeat of the people who have been hurt in church because the church has not been educated. Let's watch.
I initially didn't feel like the church was a safe place because homosexuality wasn't talked about. And when it was mentioned, it was talked about in a very, I thought, unhelpful way. It was always the issue, but not the person.
Some of the words that really hurt me and left quite a scar in my heart from the church would be, why do you choose to be gay? Both our brothers are seeing people now. What happened to you? You know that being gay is wrong. Why do you still continue to feel that way? You're surrounded by so many girls. Why don't you just choose one of them? Firstly, I'm not terminally ill and I didn't choose to feel this way. It's not a choice that I wanted to choose. So why did it come from a place of so much judgment? I just cannot understand, and it was so hurtful because these are people that I respected a lot.
I feel like there were no words specifically that left a scar, but rather really a lack of words at that time where I really needed them. Yeah, and I remember this instant where my then girlfriend and I were going out, yeah, and I actually had bumped into a youth leader. And the moment I saw him and the way he looked at me, I felt like an object.
They started talking about the kingdom of God, making disciples of all nations, which is great, and I learned so much from that. But then it veered into this whole addressing the LGBT agenda and how like there's a group of people driving this. And I remembered sitting in the audience and just thinking like, oh, is this how you see me, that I have an agenda and that I am also a victim of this agenda? And I just remembered feeling very singled out, and like I will never tell these people my true struggle and who I really am.
With the idea that I was going to step into church again with no judgment whatsoever.
And I just remembered like the Holy Spirit telling me, okay, now is the time to share with them. So I said, hey, guys, I actually like girls too.
He accepted me for who I am, and he asked me whether he could pray with me, and he just jumped in and just said that fundamentally I love you and you're my son. So it was not contingent on what it could bring him.
That was a breakthrough, not just for them, but for me. And it made me realize that there is a purpose to the struggle.
After I shared, everyone applauded just by the way that they were so warm in responding to my testimony. It just made me feel really supported and loved. And then my pastors came on stage and they apologized for the times where the church hasn't done well in walking with people with SSA. And that meant a lot to me.
And although they know that I'm still very close to my gay friends and we party together, my mom doesn't say that, oh, why are you still with your gay friends? She actually asked me to invite them over to my place. And the way that she and my dad talk to them is exactly the way that they talk to my small group friends.
I always felt, and I still feel sometimes, that I'm extraordinarily dirty, even more than the average person. And it's so important for the church to say, no, you're not. And God is more than enough for that. And there's no shame in being tempted with this.
God, you found me, you found me like where I was at, and that was the time where I felt that I really heard God. I really saw Him, and that changed like everything else.
I've seen how with the Lord and with the church family He's provided me, I have found more acceptance and love. I still experience same-sex attraction, even though it's less intense than before. Ever since I had made a decision to stop actively pursuing my same-sex desires. Yeah. But I'm also aware that the goal of my journey is not to become straight. You know, the goal of my journey is not to be heterosexual, because God doesn't say be heterosexual for I am heterosexual. God says be thou holy for I am holy. And I'm aware that God calls me and every Christian to a journey of holiness, not just in our sexuality, but in all areas of our lives. Because you know, He does all things well, and so I really believe that He will make all things beautiful in His time.
We need to educate the church to be a place that is called home, where they can come out and come home. The first E, equip, educate. The third one, can I have the next slide? The next slide, engage. Engage in meaningful conversations. It's so important. Because many of us, before we even engage, we already use our 66 books to whack people. I want you to watch another video, very short one. I want to appreciate truelove.is, which is a ministry from 316 Church in Singapore, for coming out all these short videos. In fact, some of the stories that some of the people that you watched just now, their stories are in this book. Let's look at how we engage. I think we need to learn to engage. This morning, I caught a few key things. We need to understand the ideology, yet be compassionate to those who are victims. They are victims of this ideology. I learned a lot from my teacher, my mentor, Dr. Melvin Wong, is to be pain chaser. Because each one of us, there is a need. And we all have our own narratives. But how are you going to engage with them? How are you going to speak to them? They need to know that they too have the right to be transformed by God. I appreciate Eugene and Prof. Rafida for bringing me into one meeting with Suhakam. I hear all those presentations on human rights, honestly speaking, it really bores me. All the papers, but I just listen attentively. What is human dignity? What is all those things? But finally, when there was a round table, I began to just open my mouth and engage in a different platform. And I told Mr. Chairman of Suhakam, I say, Mr. Chairman, can you please fight for my right? For people like me who has been transformed by God. I say people like me who has been transformed by my faith. Can you fight for people like me, because we are being marginalized? We want to be transformed by God, but our voice is being silent today. Do we dare to engage? Let's look at the story. The next slide.
Sometimes some of the things that we said can be insensitive to friends that struggle with same-sex attraction, or maybe not just pastors, but auntie, uncles, or some younger person who is in a youth ministry. They can say something that really create a wrong experience that someone had in church. What are some that you have heard?
I've heard, be careful, like really like making us like we're contagious, like disease, like we could carry some disease. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, don't get too close to that person and stuff like that, you know. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I'm not gonna bite or like give you disease or anything just because you're talking to me, you know. It's so silly. Yeah.
So this auntie came and then she said good morning, right? And then after that, my mom, I heard it, she said, oh, this is my daughter. And then the auntie said, oh, handsome son. And I was like, auntie, I'm a woman, I'm not a boy. And then she replied, look at the way you dress. So I was literally, right, wearing a sleeveless blouse. It was a blouse, right? And then she said, look at the way you wear. It's like, I'm not wearing anything that is indecent. And I felt really unhappy by what she said. And then since then, she never came and said hi to us anymore.
And you also never say hi to her anymore.
So I've got friends telling me, Carrie, you should grow your hair longer. But I just do not look good in long hair. Sorry.
Because the person I fell for was a Christian leader in church, I knew what people were saying to her, and that bothered me too, because people were trying to advise her to stay away from me. Like, you don't have to tell me that, but I can feel it, you know, and I knew at the same time I was also the rotten apple, so I don't fault them entirely, because I was trying to get her out of leadership, I was trying to get her to leave the church with me, and so I was a rotten apple, you know, but it didn't help my antagonism towards the church, because then the people within there were trying to get her, like, it was always one of those, why are you still hanging out with her? You know she's not good for you, you know, so I felt that.
Personally, okay, I lived 10 years in homosexuality, and I experienced homophobia in gay community. And it's very common, okay, when you get angry against someone, okay, you insult him about his sexual behavior, okay? And it also reveals that there is an inner shame, okay? Everybody knows that it's a problem, especially there is a racism against who is passive and is double bottom. Right. So it's very common to insult one each other about that. And the first thing that they accuse between transvestite people or transsexual people, drag queens, you're a faggot, you like this, you like to put this thing, and you know, so the first thing that they use is homosexuality to offend one each other.
We're not there yet, but I think day by day we're becoming safer, and that has been our pursuit. And slowly, not perfect, but slowly we begin to see the community becoming a little bit more safe.
Let me close with the last one. And I think this is the one that we can start with. Can I have the last slide? Thank you. We engage, and the last one, we extend. Let's extend. All that you are going to learn today and in days to come, or even through the readings of all the resources that's out there, can you extend? Walk in love as Christ also loved us and has given himself for us. My principle in life is very simple. Walk my talk. That's authenticity. Walk my talk. Just follow Jesus. As you follow Jesus, you will know how to love them. They are very difficult to love. Just want you to know that. I want to be very real to you. I wasn't easy to love. You ask Dr. Melvin, his hair gets whiter each day. Because we give them a lot of headaches. We can be emotionally up and down because you're dealing with the pain of the people. And unless the gospel comes in, it's not just the Bible comes in, unless they experience God, and transformation will take place. And where are they going to see God? If you and I keep a barrier, if we do not extend our hands, we're so afraid. I have pastors that call me. My member comes in skirt, what to do? And I always say this, thank God they're wearing a skirt and they're not naked. Are you with me? Because we're so quick to be judgmental. Would you just give time, extend, hear their pain? That's my prayer today, and that's the whole purpose that we participate in this conference, because we strongly believe that we can't do alone. We need people like Samuel. We need people like all the rest of the speakers, Paul Marshall, Eugene. You know? We need everybody to work together, and the church needs that today. God bless you. Thank you.